I am excited to dive into our first session. So welcome to the 2022-23 West Contra Costa Education Fair. We are thrilled you could join us for this session, Athletics, Recreation, and the Arts. Over the next 75 minutes, we will hear from a talented panel who will share their insights and ideas. And we'll begin with some preset questions and then open up for questions from the audience if they have any. I'd like to welcome our panelists. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and sharing your experience. My name is Brielle Pomerantz. I am the new Manager of Community Leadership at Go Public Schools West Contra Costa. And I'm really excited to facilitate this panel because beyond my love and passion for education, my first love was performing arts. And it has shaped my experience both personally and professionally. So I'm excited to be facilitating. So for my panelists, in 30 seconds or less, can you tell us your name and what brings you to this panel today? And I will get us started with Luis.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Luis Pacheco. My pronouns are he, him, él. And I come to you from Richmond, California. And the organization I work with is called Yes Nature Neighborhoods. And all we aim to do is to increase access to the outdoors and breaking down barriers, whether it's transportation, gear, or getting out to the actual activity. We try to make it happen as easy as possible for our families and our community. So that's a little bit about us. Great.
Move over to Chris.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Jones. I'm the Recreation Director for the City of El Cerrito. Happy to be here this morning. I'm here because, you know, some of my passions younger in life, I was in band in elementary school through college and still in a community band now, as well as I really enjoyed teaching swim lessons and lifeguarding, and pretty much started a career in recreation that way and never stopped. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Gabriela?
Morning, everyone. My name is Gabriela Yoke. I'm coming from Richmond Arts Center that's in the Richmond Civic Center Plaza. I'm here today because a lot of people don't know about the Richmond Arts Center, even though it's been here for a really long time, especially since our mission is very community oriented, but like the community doesn't know we're here. So I'm excited to share a bit more about the center today.
Great, thank you. And Anna?
Hello, my name is Anna Smith. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am coming to you on unceded Ohlone land, better known as Richmond, California. And I am the founding executive director of the Quinnen Street Project. And we provide theater arts education to K-6 classrooms, public K-6 classrooms in West Contra Costa Unified School District. I relate to what Gabriela just said about folks not knowing that we're here. However, I am a Richmond Arts Center alum. So, you know, if you're from the community, you know the community. And I'm really excited to,
Anna, we lost your sound.
I see that. I believe that the cat muted me, which is clutch.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you to our panelists who have joined us, and we're going to get into our. Oh, and sorry, and Janae, of course.
Thanks, Bria.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janae Mescal. I also work for Go Public Schools West Contra Costa. I'm on this panel just to bring awareness to recreational sports and what opportunities you can get from playing and all the the benefits of sports.
Perfect. Thank you, Janae. Well, again, so glad you're all here, and we're going to get started into our questions. So the first question is sort of, what is, can you share your background with your connection to your chosen field? So whether that's the arts, athletics, recreation, or nature exploration, what has sort of brought you to this, both personally and professionally? And can you share a little bit more about your organization and what their current offerings are? And you can jump in or I can call on people. Let's see.
I can go ahead and jump into that.
Okay, thank you.
Hi again, everyone. Luis Pacheco here with Yes Nature to Neighborhoods. And I'm actually originally from LA, came up to the Bay Area to study at UC Berkeley. And coming from a city like LA and not being really exposed to nature, when I got up to the Bay Area, I really saw how much easier it was to get to places. I could drive 10 minutes and I could be in nature and feel immersed in it. And so I actually started working at this organization called Playworks that's in a lot of West Contra Costa schools. And after I transitioned out of that, I was still, I was doing a lot of volunteering for Yes. And I was going on a lot of trips and I realized how important it is for our youth and our families to get out to nature, because in my first trip volunteering for Yes, I saw that there was a lot of smiles, a lot of people having fun and just really in the moment. And I saw a lot of healing happening. Like folks were just feeling better, even though there was a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world. And so as soon as I realized that, I was like, I need to be part of this. This is, I think this is what my calling is to work with an organization that brings accessibility to the community to get to nature. And so, yes, Nature to Neighborhoods is mainly a leadership development organization, but we use nature as a vehicle to get that leadership development. And so currently right now, we are finishing up some of our programming. We just did some kayaking, some overnights. We did some backpacking and other overnights at Point Reyes National Shoreline. Our most recent trip was an overnight at Tamales Bay, and that was a kayaking overnight. It was an amazing time when we took out 14 youth out there. And so something that's coming up in the spring is we're going to be offering camp days. Those are going to be starting off in March. But the thing that's going to come up the most, and this is our winter camp that's happening February 12th to 13th, and that is an overnight for youth ages 8 to 17. And we're going to take them out to Point Bonita in the Marin Headlands and have 2 days of amazing nature exploration, nature education, and just a really immersive experience for the youth. So, and yeah, if folks want to get more information, they can always visit our website at yesfamilies.org.
Great, thank you, Luis. Let's go to you, Gabriela.
Yeah, so my name is Gabriela. I'm the education manager here at the Richmond Arts Center. And how I got to here is I'm actually from LA as well. I'm a first generation Latina, and for me, what that means is like my parents weren't aware of a lot of activities for me. So I was the one looking for stuff when I was old enough in high school, like how I can get involved in different, not organizations, but activities. So that sort of, long story short, led me to getting into arts administration and trying to let folks know the different things that we can offer. So here at the Art Center, we provide a lot of visual art activities. The Art Center itself has galleries, we have exhibitions year round. Our main thing is we have art studios, including ceramics, glass, metal, painting. We have a youth studio. So we offer a lot of art classes throughout the week. We work on a quarter system. So we just ended our fall quarter this week, and our winter quarter starts on January 3rd. But yeah, we offer a variety of art classes for everyone, adults, youth, intergenerational classes. So we have some family classes that are aimed to get parents and their kids together, making together. And the thing that I love about the Art Center too is that we try to make things as accessible as possible. So we offer scholarships, no questions asked. Like you just apply, you tell us that you need a scholarship, you got that scholarship. But yeah, I can go on, but
there'll be more questions ahead.
Yes.
So great. That's perfect. Anna.
Hi, yes, I'm Anna. This is Ernie, by the way. He's a very active Zoom participant, so you will be seeing him and his paw. So I have a very non-traditional educational background. My mom was a credentialed teacher in West Contra Costa when I was a child, and she actually opted to homeschool me. So I had a lot of time to pursue the arts in my childhood and in my education. And I was drawn to it because, well, honestly, I don't know. I was too small to have made a conscious decision other than apparently pointing and saying, I would like to do that. So I have always been a performing artist. And when I pursued higher education and got my degree and moved back home, I began the Quinnan Street Project because I wanted to be able to enrich school days for everyone in my community, regardless of what parent access was like or scheduling was like or anything like that. So I originally, created this so that everyone could have at least 45 minutes once a week of some theater in their classroom in my hometown community. And so let's see. Yeah, that's my answer.
Great. Thank you, Anna. And Chris?
Yeah, so kind of opposite of some of these panelists, I'm from El Cerrito. I thought I wanted to go to school. I thought I wanted to get out of here and go to school in LA. But like I mentioned, I was in band, which was really an important part of my life, where most of my friends had come from, all my social activities, things like that. And I did a tour with the Cal Band and decided that's where I needed to be. And then I also decided that I really didn't want to leave my high school job at the Albany pool. And so I kept teaching and lifeguarding and all those things. And, I thought all kinds of things in school. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to go into business. I want to do this and this, that, and the other. And I kept going back to the El Cerrito Recreation Department and doing different things and basically never left. Never left recreation, that is. Left El Cerrito for a brief stint and then was fortunate enough to come back. And the recreation department, we do all sorts of things for all ages and abilities. We have big childcare programs at all the schools in El Cerrito. We have really big summer camp programs. We offer all kinds of different enrichment activities. It's really important that for us that we try to find all kinds of different things that parents can sign their kids up for to help them try to gauge their interests, and find their passions in kind of in a recreational way, in a non-competitive sense. And so, we run the gambit of those kinds of services, as well as facility rentals and play fields and all that fun stuff. So you can find us online at elcerrito.org/recreation. But all of the recreation departments in West County, I have to say, offer a great variety of programs and are a really good resource for you if you're looking for something for yourself to enrich your own life or that of your kids or family members.
Great. Thank you, Chris. And Janae, why don't you share some of your background?
Yeah, so for me, I grew up in a small town in the Central Valley. And my family saw like you have two options being there, either get in trouble or get in sports. So they chose sports for me. And I played in recreational sports, whether it was soccer, karate, softball, basketball. I played everything, like anything that they can get me in, I was in, from age 5 to 14. And with that, it taught me a lot of discipline, and it taught me how to like widen my horizons. So being able to just try other things like also taught me what I didn't like, and then how to like narrow in on my craft and like keep pursuing on the things I like interest.
Great, thank you. Wow, there's so many amazing programs out there evident by this panel. So my big like first question to anyone who wants to chime in is, how can a parent identify the best type of program for their individual child? So competitive versus more process-based or recreational, seasonal versus year-round, full day or part day. What are your thoughts on how a parent can identify that best program?
Well, I could jump in. I think
Yeah.
coming from a recreation department, you know, that is kind of our goal, is to offer a wide variety of things for people to try, and then really, you know, we don't necessarily get into the hardcore competitive stuff, but we can be that introduction so that parents can, you know, kind of easily, with not a huge commitment, have their kids try a bunch of different things, and then they could go find you know, places that you know, they're either super competitive or super specialized or things like that. But I think it's important to let kids try a lot of different things, try not to you know, steer them in certain directions, just let them try and see what they gravitate towards and what they're passionate about. And that's what we offer, and organizations like ours offer.
Great, thank you.
And I can jump on after that and just second that and say that the Quinnan Street Project is a very non-competitive theater program on purpose, because if your child is drawn to the arts, there's a lot of inherent competition ahead in many different capacities. So I tend to, and I'm not a parent, I am an educator. So from an educational standpoint, what I believe is that if a child is drawn to something and it makes them happy, then there's no harm in exploring what the breadth of that interest is. And if it gets to a point where the competition, or you know, something becomes internalized and becomes more harmful than positive, then you can always dial it back and try something lateral or try something different. And I think just always checking in and making sure that everyone is still having fun, because the point is to give yourself and your child a well-rounded childhood and experience. So that's my opinion of that, because especially from a performing arts perspective, there's a lot of you know, I'm sure the sports industry also, I did not do a sport, but you know, I grew up doing dance competitions, so you know, if you've seen Dance Moms, it's very real. So, you know.
Great, thank you, Anna.
Yeah, and I'll jump in. I would say something similar of like, it's let the kid explore. And I think energy levels also have something to do with that. Like, if you're, granted, I'm not a parent either, but I like, if your child has more energy, I think something that would allow them to use up that energy, which could be sports, it could be something outdoors, right? But also like at the art center, that's one of my things I love is the intergenerational family classes and workshops, because it's something that like you as a parent can go with your kid and explore and see if they're interested in it, right? And if you see that interest, like you can explore like a longer class or something, or if not here, in a different arts program, right? But I think, yeah, the energy level, seeing like just trying different things.
Yeah, great. Anyone else have thoughts?
Yeah.
Great.
Super on board with, yeah, letting folks explore. Here at Yes, we have our youth leadership pathway that ranges from starting off at 8 years old all the way to 18. And throughout that pathway, we have different cohorts split up in different ages. so that programming is age appropriate, and also that the coordinators that are working specifically with each cohort are making sure that the program is a little bit more open-ended, allowing for creativity and also for the input of the youth. So we start off with our youngest cohort being the explorers. So they get to explore, and they really have their programming is very open-ended. It's very foundational. They get to go out to local parks, get to do some gardening, and they also get to provide their input. And we do a lot of listening sessions before we start the cohorts each year, so that we are hearing from the participants and like what went well and what can we do to improve their experience. So we start off with our youngest cohort, 8 to 10-year-olds are in the explorers, then 11 to 13 with our rangers. And then we have our leaders that are ages 13 to around 15-ish. It's a little bit more fluid. And then we end that pathway, the youth leadership pathway, with the fellows cohort that works a little bit more with some advocacy stuff, but they're on the older end. They still get to do everything that the younger groups do, which is like all the outdoor experiences that include nature day outings, hikes, backpacking, overnights, and things like that. But as they get older, they get more responsibility in also the stewardship part of nature and leaving no trace and understanding the history of the land and so forth. So it does keep it more open-ended, but we do have those foundational things for each age group.
Great, great. And sort of follow-up to that is, how do you handle difficult conversations with families when a child participating in your program is showing resistance or disinterest in the program? And that's kind of those courageous conversations or difficult conversations to have.
I can jump on that.
Yeah.
Because we do get a lot of young folk who don't want to be in the art class. I think for us, two things sort of happen. For me, as an educator standpoint, sometimes I let that slide because kids already are forced into so much structure at school, at home. And I personally believe that sometimes in like these activities that they're forced to put in, it's okay to have leniency with that, right? But also another thing is like trying to give them an alternative and like trying to figure out that entry point. Maybe it's not like the painting that we're supposed to be working on. Maybe it's like something more tactile. And I think sometimes it's the educator's responsibility to sort of figure out like how to get them interested. And when that doesn't work, then yes, having that conversation with the parent and saying like, hey, we've already done these things. And I think that's where sometimes it's like, okay, the parent has to think about, is this really the right kind of activity? But that doesn't mean to say it's like we don't try beforehand, right? But always thinking about how much are we forcing kids to do?
Yeah, great answer.
And I can, oh, sorry, no, Janae, go ahead.
I'll just jump on it, and as a teammate's perspective, you see a lot of like your teammates coming in because you know their parents like, my mom's making me play baseball, I don't want to. And like you feel that, right? So when that happens, like as a teammate, you try to be as empathetic as possible, and you try to talk them up, right? So instead of being a teammate at that point, like you be their friend. So that way, even though like they don't want to be here to play the sport, at least they're there to like hang out with you. So that is kind of how like as a teammate, like try to like structure, just so that way when they're there, it's not as a horrible experience for them. Like they actually have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But yeah, also what I've also like realized with parents, like when that happens, like it's like a very fine line between like pushing your child out of their comfort zone and like not listen and like blatantly like not listening to them. So like I think like it's possible, it's like it's important to have those check-ins with your child to see like if they like it, and if not, cool, like do this one season and after that you never have to do it again. But I think like it's a conversation to have with your child.
Great, thank you. And Anna, did you want to add to that? And Ernie too.
Yes. Ernie's finally had enough. He's moved on. So so sorry about that. He's on every Zoom call that he's and still not adopted somehow. So if you want him, you can have him. But as you know, an organization that goes into classrooms, we inherently have at least a multitude of children who did not pick this, whose classroom teacher picked it, or you know, whose principal picked it, or whose PTA picked it. So I believe, you know, and also like when we do stuff on site and it is a parent's, you know, it is a sign up situation, like in our summer camps. Oh, he's back. When it is that kind of situation, I agree with everything everyone has said so far, particularly about, you know, leniency. And one of the great things about theater education is there's always something for someone to do. So in a theater classroom, we've had multiple kids in multiple, you know, in residencies and summer camps who are just petrified of being in front of a group, speaking out loud. And while it is good in a classroom setting to encourage them to be brave and try new things, when it comes down to it, it's okay to have a stage manager, and it's okay to have a child do a costume design instead. Like there's many different, like I was talking about earlier, there's many lateral moves that educators and programs can do to still make sure that, kind of like what Janae was saying, so that someone is still getting the benefits of being in an ensemble and being a part of something positive and enriching and educational and within their comfort zone. Because not every kid wants to run to the front of the line. Not every kid wants to sing a solo or have, you know, a whole monologue or anything like that. But that doesn't mean that that kid's not going to grow up and, you know, go to their high school theater department down the road and be like, hey, do you guys need any help backstage or anything? Because we've had a lot of kids over the years who were shy, but never really leave the theater community because they found community there and they felt acceptance there. And I think that's completely true for all the other activities that panelists on this panel are speaking about, especially sports, visual arts, all of that. So that's my 2 cents on that. And that's Ernie's 2 cents too.
Great. Thank you, Anna.
You know, I would just add that I completely agree with everybody here about strategies and trying to engage. You know, another perspective that we deal with is kids are in childcare because they have to be, because their parents work, you know, and there's, whether they like it or not, you know, they have to be there. And sometimes, you know, parents might have to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you know, if there's like behavior issues, for example. You know, we've had kids who they wake up early in the morning, their parent brings them to grandma's house, then grandma feeds them breakfast, and then they brings them to before care, and then before care brings them to school, and then after school they come to childcare. And you know, no wonder this first grader is just completely exhausted and, you know, doesn't know where, you know, doesn't know what's going on, where they are, and things like that. And so sometimes, you know, just take a step back and be like, you know, is there a way that we can cut down on, you know, a couple of these transitions, you know, to the extent possible, for example. So sometimes just taking a big, you know, balcony level view of what's going on all together with that child. You know, there might be other reasons other than they don't like their art class or something like that, you know, so.
Great. And I'm going to, before, if you have something to say, Luis, I'm actually going to get you for our next question, and this will answer it. So this question for you, Luis. So YES's program has a focus on those outdoor experiences in nature and cultivating leadership, and you have multi-generational and whole family engagement. How are you creating interest for families and communities that might not be familiar with this type of experience and programming?
Yeah, I think, yeah, we like to create spaces where folks can come and just get a little bit of a taste. So we do like to bring in the whole family and do a holistic kind of approach to the work that we do. And so we started this programming that we call Nature Day outings, and we put these on in the fall, and we bring families out to local parks, and it's the whole family engaging together. And we do different rotations where we're teaching them about the benefits of physical activity, or sometimes we're doing an art station, or we bring out outside facilitators to do a workshop on bikes, and maybe a workshop on something that's happening in their local community. We do a lot of nature education, and we do it all there at a local park. And the main thing is just getting them to know us, build that trust, build that rapport, and we invite them to the other things that we have going on. A big piece is like really just building that trust. And so we like to include everyone in it so that everyone's on the same page and understands the work that we do and the care that we really bring to the work that we do. Another very big program that we have that brings everyone together is our family camp. And that is exactly what it sounds like. It's bringing the whole family to camp and kind of easing them into it. We're not having folks jump into tents and, roughing it up. We have them in their cabins at a local, semi-local campground. So we usually go to like Camp Lomamar or Camp Jones Gulch, or somewhere that's close by. It's only an hour away, and we provide the transportation, we provide the gear and the experience. And that is mainly to show the families as well, not only just the youth, but also the caregivers, that this is the amount of care and love and intention that we put into this work. And after that, we see more folks really engaging with us. And a lot of it happens from word of mouth. Like people just enjoyed the experiences with us, and they're like, okay, this is a good program for your youth, or this is a good program for this adult, because we also have our adult leadership pathway that extends all the way from 18 all the way to however old you are and you want to engage with. Yes, there's many ways to do it. So yeah, that's really how we make it happen.
Great, thank you, Luis. All right, I'm going to turn to Janae. As someone who has participated and had dedication to a sport in your youth and in your young adulthood, what has been the impact on you, and how has it affected you today? And you spoke a little bit about that at the beginning, but can you expand on that a little bit as a participant?
Yeah, so the impact of like playing sports and stuff, like I said before, like it taught you discipline, and it taught you like the things you didn't like. It also built leadership, right? Because I was I'm a quiet child, like sit in the back of the classroom, like head down, like under the radar. And being on, like, for example, I played softball mainly. So being on that field, like I found my voice. And with that, like I built my confidence. I was able to like keep my head up when I'm walking now. Like I don't just look down. And with that, like I also like found like my people, right? I found my lifetime of friends. Like to this day, like I still talk to my college softball coach, right? So she still stays in touch with me. And with that, like although I didn't have a job, right? But she made sure that we treated our sport as a job, right? So you came in and it was business, right? So you hold yourself to a professional, right? So with that, like I was able to like translate those skills into later on in my life. So yeah, that's a little bit about like the sports, and like yeah, so just like leadership, confidence, and like professional.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to turn to everyone on the panel again. So how do you think families should balance the demands of school and the child's athletic, recreational, or art interests? And I'm just going to combine it with my next question, which is also how much downtime or unscheduled time should a child have? So how are they balancing it, and how should you find that balance of scheduled or unscheduled time?
I'll jump in. Why not? I am not a parent. I have a master's degree in education, so I've read about being a parent a lot, but I am not a parent. I can only speak from my experience, the way that my mother parented me and my father parented me, which was that my mom had a very like quote unquote Montessori style to our homeschooling. So I was given enough space to pursue whatever I wanted to pursue. And she kind of supplemented, you know, things that she thought that maybe I was like, I wasn't a big reader. I probably had an undiagnosed learning difference. I probably still have an undiagnosed learning difference. And my mom would just kind of encourage me to read on my off time, even if, or write on my off time, even if it wasn't, even if I was complaining about it. She always said, you know, write in your journal every day, even if it's just, I don't have anything to say today. And so that said, I again think that this comes down to each individual child. I've known families with multiple children who each child has a completely different plate that they need full. Some children need a ton of unstructured time because they're autonomous learners. Like my brother was an autonomous learner. He loved to just be alone and look at the globe and then look up countries and learn about countries that he didn't know about. What's the predominant religion there, what's the language spoken there. And some children need things, and some grown-ups need things to be structured one thing after another. So it's a hard question because I really feel that it's individual to each kid. I mean, even in our most recent camp at the Quinn and Street Project, we were struggling, especially since COVID, because everything has changed about how children engage with activities during the day now. And what is piquing one child's attention is not going to pique another child's interest. So we were struggling with structured time and unstructured time just in camp curriculum. So, yeah, I think just listening to the needs of your kids is just the best advice that I can give, because that's what I try to do as an educator. And you're not always, I think, also just radically accepting that you're going to get it wrong sometimes.
I love that. Thank you. Any other thoughts on like finding that balance between the demands of school or even parents' limitations? If you're having to drive kids here and here and here with the strain on the family, any thoughts on that? Or finding, again, that balance of structure versus unstructured?
Yeah. I would definitely agree with what Anna said. I have an 8-year-old who's actually in the other room right now. And he is one of those people or one of those youth that needs to have like more alone time. Like he actually prefers to be alone, and he's working on creating some stuff out of cardboard right now. And he loves doing that. Like he just Anna, you pretty much described my son. He likes to look up countries and likes to learn things about them, and he knows a whole bunch of that, but that's really on his own. And I think that what that speaks to is that usually the behavior of a youth will tell you how much structure they need too. Like they'll tell, like if there's like misbehaving happening, it's probably because they need something structured, or they're asking for it. And so like it is not a one size fits all kind of approach. It's every youth is gonna kind of tell you and let you know what their needs are. And so I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I'm like a part of a village of three littles, right? So my oldest, who's 14, he loves his alone time, right? And he's there, like he does Legos. He's like he really loves doing anything with his hands. And my middle, my girl, she's a reader, so she's always reading, right? And then my youngest, he is just zooming everywhere. 7-year-old ball of energy. So with the 7-year-old, we always have him in something, right? We always have him playing some sort of sport outside, like playing some sort of structured game. And for like my niece, like we kind of let her go because she that's what she needs, is just her alone time, right? And then with my nephew, like he needs a little bit of both, right? But he also needs to be like this because he's 14 and he doesn't want to listen to anyone. So it's a little bit of like, okay, like you have your alone time, and now here's some structure, right? So I think like everyone's saying, it just there's no one size fits all. It just depends on the kiddo and just listening to them. So yeah.
Great. All right. I'm going to pivot to an increasingly important topic and talk about inclusion practices. So how are you and your organization intentionally serving students with disabilities or learning differences?
Well, I think it's all about making sure that parents are aware that there's an avenue to engage on what their child needs, and maybe what some limitations are, and what they respond well to and what they don't respond well to, and then really sitting down with that instructor and working out a plan in as much advance as possible too, so that the child doesn't feel like they're being singled out on the first day of a certain thing or anything like that. So I really think, and then also helping staff and contractors recognize that, they actually have an obligation to provide reasonable accommodations, and, try to do training and professional development around that fact, and so that it's not seen as a burden or anything like that. And also, if you need additional resources, identifying those, early on, as early as possible.
Great, thank you, Chris.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think in line with what Chris just said, it's yes, works a lot with partners that provide more adequate services, I think, for like folks with disabilities or different abilities. So like our recent kayaking trip, I really love our partner for kayaking, their environmental traveling companions. And like you can even see their logo is very inclusive if you look them up. But they'll ask us like, oh, do you have anyone that that needs some other accommodations, and they'll work with us to make the experience happen. And so we don't just do that with that partner, we do it with all of our partners, our camp partners. And the main thing is just the communication piece, like making sure that those things are communicated in advance so that those accommodations can be made earlier rather than later. And it just feels like it's a smoother kind of experience for everyone. And so, yeah, it's just, it really comes down to making sure that everyone's in the loop, and sitting down to make those adjustments and those plans so that it just feels like a smooth experience for everyone.
Thank you, Luis.
I wholeheartedly echo that. And I have found in my work that teachers and parents tend to not want to share up front if a kid has an IEP, or if there's something that we should know. They kind of want us to just discover it. And I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to tell whoever is educating your child what their needs are privately, in an email, in whatever way you feel comfortable with. Don't let us discover it. We're not, especially arts educators, we are not professionals. Like we are professional arts educators, but we are not professional. I have someone on my staff who has a MFA, or not an MFA, a master's in special education, and can diagnose, but we are not qualified to diagnose. We can notice things and we can support things, but the more you give us a warning, like we had a kid this summer who his dad is an old friend of mine, and I knew the kid, and we were able to, one of the benefits of being a small organization is we are able to throw a lot of adults at our kids. And like our ratio is like practically 1-to-1 some days, because I'm just like, throw more adults in there, more grown-ups. This kid needs one grown-up to take him outside and run around halfway through the lesson, and this kid needs someone to draw with him at about 2 p.m. Like there's just more grown-ups. And it's not always possible. It's not always the answer, but everything at my organization is inclusive as much as possible, because everyone deserves to learn and everyone deserves to be treated equitably and fairly. And I take that very seriously. And yeah, our studio is fully ADA accessible. We have a clinical psychologist, a social worker, and a special day class specialist on our board and on our staff. So we are always able to handle whatever is thrown at us. And communication is key. If your kid needs something, please just tell us. We want to help. We want to know the best ways to help and support your kid to do the very best. And sometimes it's something really simple. So whatever it is, please communicate to your educators, because we want to know.
Great. Thank you, Anna.
I will say though that sometimes it's hard when the parent doesn't acknowledge that the student has some sort of learning disability or whatnot, or just needs a little extra patience. We ran into that situation over the summer where the parent just didn't want to acknowledge anything. So like we and the teachers had to sort of take it on and like, okay, we're going to make this fun for you. Yeah, that being said, our teachers were working on doing more trainings to handle situations like that, and just so our teachers are more well-rounded. We try not to we like our teachers, but we also want to give them skills so they can go elsewhere, right? To sort of round out our community. But the Art Center is also, we're fortunate in which we're so tied to the city where we can pull some of their resources. I believe we're currently trying to get a sign language interpreter for a student. So even if like the city won't pay for it, they can point us in the right direction, right? So that's a great situation to be in.
Yeah. Great, thank you. So I have some audience questions. Can a student try out your programs without committing to a full class? Are there any, like, if the child is starting out, can they do like a sample? We're getting a yes from Anna. Yeah.
It's not at the Richmond Arts Center, but we have unlimited 100% scholarship coverage. So you can get your kid in there for free, and if they don't like it the first day, then they don't like it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. I know, Luis, you were saying that Yes does a lot of these sort of open programs at parks and stuff like that, so that serves an entryway in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would just add that there's no commitment that we're like asking. Where everything that we do is also completely free. We provide like for our events, provide food, provide transportation, provide anything we can to make it as easy as possible. And if folks are just like, okay, this is not for me, totally fine. No commitment needed. If they wanted to sign up for a specific cohort, they could try them on, see if it's for them. Same thing. They don't feel if the youth is not feeling it, and instead they want to do more general programming or just step away from the organization in general. All good. We're just there for whenever they're ready.
Great, thank you. And how about the rec center, Chris?
Yeah, I would say it's a really important question for parents to find out in advance. For a lot of our classes, we work with independent contractors. And so, refunds might not be an option because, someone could take a spot and then nobody else can have that spot, even if, so it's a really important question to find out in advance. But I also think it's really important to try to, work with your kid after, don't give up after just one class. Let's engage with the instructor, let's engage and try to figure out, how next time could be better. But Yeah, so I mean, we certainly have some like workshop type things, some one-off things that
Mhm.
could lead into another class. But by and large, a lot of it is kind of a commitment. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And Gabrielle just shared in the chat that Richmond Art Center host public events in which they have free art activities. So as you said, the nice taster or introduction to sort of the programming that you do. So that's wonderful. I like, having those different entry points. Another question is, my child is a newcomer. What support is available to them in your program? So when you have sort of brand new students, how are they sort of being introduced to things or feeling like they're getting the support they need?
Well, in our curriculum, the first day is always 100% about building ensemble and getting to know each other. So regardless of, and we don't have we have like returning students, but I would not call our kids cliquey or anything like that. But regardless of any of that, first day is always getting to know each other, ensemble, ensemble, ensemble. We are here together. We are spending this time together. We are creating whatever this is together, including your grown-ups, including kids. We are all an ensemble. So everyone is welcome. The shyest and the boldest, everyone is welcome.
Yeah, great. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would add that yes, if there's someone that's coming in that's brand new to the program, we kind of usually we do like a little bit of a sit down meeting at the office where like, oh look, this is our space right now, and this is what we offer here at the space, and we go over through like our programming, and then once we've kind of identified where this youth is going to be going and what program they're interested in, then we kind of have them come to a workshop where at our workshops, the coordinators usually go through a process of, in the beginning, of like just creating a really safe space, going through our group agreements for the group and for our organization, and just setting it up so that folks feel nice and comfortable, feel safe, feel like this is a brave space for them to be themselves. And then we go from there. And if there's some more touch points that are needed with individuals, we also make sure that we support them, either the coordinator or another staff member. We have our wellness specialist who really supports a lot of our workshops, and they're there to provide mental health support and things like that. And that's like a very new position that we brought in because we saw that there's a need for that. So it's just mainly to make sure that everyone feels comfortable as soon as they're engaging with us, and that they can be themselves.
Great, thank you. We have a question come in for Janae and Chris. You both had your sort of your passion. For you it was band, for Janae it was sports or softball. So sort of fill in your college experience. Are there any regrets or learnings or things you might do differently if you had a chance? Would you have branched out more? Would you have, focused on other things?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I guess for me personally, I was really into, for some reason, to teaching swim lessons. So I couldn't be on the swim team because I was going to the pool to teach swim lessons, or I kind of maybe missed out on some things because I was working, I guess. And so maybe branching out a little bit from there could have been beneficial. But at the end of the day, I'm fortunate that I think that a lot of those things kind of led to where I am now, and I don't have too many regrets about that.
Great, thank you. Janae?
Yeah, I try not to live in like the thought of regret, but if there's some things I would change, I think it would be branching out and trying more things other than softball, because when my career ended, I was lost. I didn't know what other things I liked because softball was my life for 15 years. So I would say like it's okay to like pause and like do something else for a little bit and then come back. And also like I would never miss a practice. Like I went to like every game. Like I thought like softball was life, right? So because of that, I put a lot of things on pause. Like I didn't get my license until later on because like I couldn't go because like I have sports, like I have practice. So I would say like have a balance. Like definitely have a balance because like as much as your craft means a lot to you, your life does too. So like please have a life.
Great, thank you. And then another question came in. My child only speaks Spanish, so we have a variety of languages spoken here in the Bay Area. How are you creating spaces for bilingual or English language learners in your programs?
We have bilingual classes. We also have Spanish only speaking classes. We, on our class listings, we list all the languages that the teachers speak. So we do have a Mandarin speaking teacher, we have a French speaking teacher, Spanish. We do our best, and our teachers know that we're trying to serve a wide community, so that they need to have patience when communicating with non-English learners or non-English speaking folk. But yes, we pride ourselves in having multiple languages at the center.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Us too. Yeah, two of our teaching artists speak Spanish. We don't have a ton of other languages on staff, but like Gabriela said, we do our best. And one of my teaching artists tried to learn Portuguese one year because we had a really large amount of Portuguese speaking students. We have some Mandarin speaking students, and when in doubt, we are able at least to try to empower some of our bilingual kids to help kind of be our co-facilitators at certain times, which can be a lot for a kid, but also is really empowering and very community building too, because then the grown-ups start to learn more of that language as well, and it kind of starts to become kind of a more inclusive experience, which is really exciting. So yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd agree. We don't specifically have too many bilingual programs, but we're fortunate being here in West County. We have a very diverse staff, and so more times than not, we do have a Spanish speaker on staff or a Mandarin speaker or Cantonese speaker on staff that can help integrate, as well as we have a number of languages spoken in our administrative office so that can help engage parents on putting their child in a program.
Great.
Yeah, and I would add that yes, like 90% of us are bilingual Spanish English speakers, and if the coordinator is not Spanish speaking, they always have a co-facilitator that can support with at least the Spanish speaking, and we are being very intentional in trying to include more languages in the things that we provide to families and folks, like just our brochures and information about our programs. We're trying to create a nice little set of like different things that in different languages, but for sure Spanish, English, we gotcha.
Great. Is there anything else that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with families or people thinking about trying out your programs? Anything I didn't ask you that you're like, I really want to tell you about this?
Well, I would just say that there's lots of opportunity out there to engage your kids in a number of different things. And, we have people all the time that said I've lived in El Cerrito for 10 years and I had no idea this swim center was here. So, call your city, call the YMCA, call yes, there's all kinds of places out there and opportunities to kind of just get that initial touch to try a bunch of different things. if your child expressed an interest in something, chances are around here you can find it, and hopefully also find the resources to assist you, if needed as well.
Great, thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that? If not, I would love to hear from Chris and Gabriela and Anna and Luis one more time of how people and parents can find out more about your organizations. So let's start with Anna. Oh, just
Great.
how do people find out? What's your website? How do people learn more?
Sure. We're at quinanstreet.org, QUINANSTREET.org, and we're on Instagram and Facebook, and in schools we are virtual only this year, which actually is a great thing. We have a little infographic slide deck on our social media right now about why. It's not just safety, it's actually accessibility as well. We found, that we were able to reach our children more directly, being a virtual drama program. Who knew? But we also have in-person at our site. In the summertime, typically we have community events at our studio in Pinole a lot. We have an event that I have not announced yet, but coming up on December 17th, because we are launching a multilingual folklore podcast, which I'm very excited about. And so we're going to have a little spooky winter launch party for kiddos. There's going to be a write your own spooky story kind of activity at a table. So, come check that out. And yeah, we're just rolling and keeping things simple. We're a small, community-based organization. And I always say we're theater for weirdos. So if your kid is like, I want to do theater, and you're like, I don't really want to go see, Shrek Jr. We're not going to do Shrek Jr. We're going to do something weirder. So, that's what we're up to. So, thank you for dropping the link. And thank you so much, Brielle, and everyone at Go Public Schools for having me. And yeah, lovely to talk to these panelists as well. And Ernie says, it's nap time.
All right, thank you, Anna. Gabriela.
Yes, so you can find out so much more about the Richmond Arts Center on our website, richmondartscenter.org. Thank you, Erica, for putting that link. I'm also putting in the chat our front desk phone number and also our admin email. So if you have any questions about our programs, you can call, you can email. We're always happy to answer any questions. Right now, December 4th is our Holiday Arts Festival. It's like a big arts and crafts sale type thing if you want to do some holiday shopping of local vendors. And we're also going to have some art activities there if you want to check that out. But we're always happy to chat with people and we're always happy to hear feedback about our classes, about what you want to see, about what you're hoping that we offer. We are still building up our programs back since the pandemic, right? Each quarter, we continue adding more and more classes. We are potentially extending our hours again. So we're slowly but steadily increasing our programming, but always happy to hear from folks and talk with them.
Great, thank you. Luis?
Yeah, thank you, Erica, for putting our website on there on the chat. So yeah, you can find more information at yesfamilies.org. And there, the website is also, you can change the language, I believe, to between English and Spanish. But yeah, you'll find a lot of our upcoming information. You can get more information on each cohort. You'll have access to contact us, and I'll have our emails. So you can just shoot us an email, send an email directly to me, and I can send it out to the coordinator that's in the age range of your youth. But yeah, we can connect you to the different opportunities that are available. But yeah, yesfamilies.org is the way to connect, the best way to connect with us.
Great. And Chris, I know we dropped the thing in the chat. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, we're on elcerrito.org/recreation. We're on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can go to our website and sign up for a monthly e-newsletter if you'd like to get regular updates about what we're offering and what's going on. I think the biggest thing coming up in El Cerrito, we still haven't gone back to too many big scale indoor events. So the biggest thing coming up is in January, we have the Martin Luther King Jr. Parade, which is, if you don't know about that, it's one of the oldest MLK celebrations in the Bay Area. And they march from the Plaza Art Station to El Cerrito High School for a program in the theater. It's a very cool event. Lots of people come out for that. So if you're interested, yeah, and please, we're open anytime. We offer all kinds of different programs, and we'd love to see you.
Great.